Tamikaze here, talking about how I scan for setups and plays. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you find your plays? What scanner do you use? Uh, what are you looking for? Things like that. So I'm always plugged into catalysts and news and obviously the chat and everything. There's no real easy answer to tell you. I don't use a scanner. I just do it the old-fashioned way. So I'm in my trading view right here, and normally what I do is on my broker, I'll have maybe 20 tickers I'm watching, and I'll just kind of every night go through the charts and figure out which ones I want to play or potentially play with the setup. So then what I do is I just draw trend lines, and this is like the green lines are my buy lines, so it's a resistant line, and when it crosses over the resistance line, that's when I buy. Or I have my resistant line, or this is the support line, so if it breaks that, then I just don't worry about it. I go on to the next place. So how do I find my top 20 I'm looking for, top 10, top 5? Really, I just go through my watch list. So I'll do this live. I haven't done this previously, so you could go through Apple. I know I previously drew a pennant here, so this would be something where if I saw it, I'd be like, ooh, Apple could actually be a great play tomorrow. So oops. So we got our resistant line right here. So we're just drawing it to connect all the points here. And then what you'd be looking for is a buy line. So you do another trend line. And this, why is this not saving? All right, there we go. Let's do this again. So then we would draw the buy line here. So let's say tomorrow it crosses this. That would be our target to go in. So make sure we got those pointed up right. So this is actually a great bull pennant. So you got the flag right here. So this is basically your flagpole right here. We can signify that with, say, a different color. So resistance line, if it breaks below this, we don't buy in. If it breaks above the green line, we buy in. And then let's say we could draw a ray across here. Generally, a bull flag will go above it, but you could have, let's say, a target of 515 tomorrow. So that would be the previous high. So we say we'll go up here. You could take profits here, or you could try to find another line. But because it's at all-time highs, it's really hard to predict. You basically just let it go, and then you start seeing how it acts. If it creates another flag, then you don't do that. And if it doesn't, then you take your profits. Simple. So now we found one play that could be one on there. We could go to another one here. Um, Generally, for short term, you're looking at 3 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is easier to see setups. Looks like might have a resistant line right here. Yeah, it looks like that one works out. We take that as our buy line. But we don't have a great downtrend line. We have almost just a straight drop here. So we could put this on the list. I don't love it. It's not a great A-plus setup, but we do have old resistance becoming new support, so that is something to pay attention to. The problem with Amerisource, and you might not know this unless you go into your broker, is it is a lower volume play, and usually the options on it are harder to fill because the bid and asks are wider. So once you develop your playlist, watch list, that kind of thing, you kind of know the top 50 to 100 tickers that you're going to be able to play, that are going to have the liquidity necessary to play options are. So a lot of these I watch, but they're not actually viable for options. So they're not something I play every day, but it's something I would watch maybe for shares or long-term plays. So, like all of these you may never even heard of, probably AMD. Let's chart that one out real quick. I haven't charted that in a while. So you had a bullish descending pennant right here, a collapsing wedge. So that's why it spiked up here. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like a seahorse. But nothing great happening here that I would call an A-plus setup. You don't have, you might have a big flag here. So you could draw this out. This potentially could be it. It's not something that I would call ripe for playing yet. So I wouldn't, I'd pay attention to it, but I wouldn't have it on my watch list for tomorrow. Not a huge AMD guy myself, but I know Amazon's one we've been talking about. So you can see here, I drew these over the weekend, and this is what happened today. I have not changed any of these. So we have here is a failed breakout, and then more consolidation. So this is a bull pennant that now is turning into a bull flag. So a bull flag is sideways. So it will consolidate in a sideways movement instead of a triangular movement. So we would just draw this out as our support and resistance. It's probably more like, we usually want to have a couple of points here. So this looks like a, so you have a major support here and a couple of small breaks below there. So that's probably a better support here, and this would be our resistance here. So original top line, second top line, failed breakout. If it went above this, this could be a potential buy signal. And I know we've been looking at this as a cup and handle, so this could potentially be a fantastic play. ATV is the one that I've been talking about a lot. I mean, nothing spectacular. You might have kind of got a resistance line there. And this is really what I do in my free time is I just been looking at plays, and I chart out plays, and this is how I've gotten to learn which ones I like and which ones I don't. So, I mean, this uptrend is pretty strong right now. And I know I've been talking about the giant cup and handle on this. So if we zoom out, you can actually see this fantastic cup. You know, we get a little handle here. We go, and we can sip this all the way to 100. It'd be awesome. So generally, also people wonder how long something will run after a cup. What I've noticed is, so let's say the bigger the cup, the more it runs. So if you got 84 down to 40, that's 44 points. You could add 44 points on and flip this over, and you could see it go up all the way up to like 124 here. So Baba, another one, I'm just going down through my list, and this is what you would do. You make your list, you just go down it, and you chart out some plays, you add your top setups, and you pick the ones, and then you pick 5 or 6 to watch on a day, and when they break over your buy lines, you buy in. So how did I pick T, and how did I pick AXP and all that? They were on my watch list. I picked them originally. I don't actually have T on here for some reason, but let's just say one of the reasons I picked T is with the small account challenge, I wasn't looking to play these big tickers like Amazon and Apple because they cost a lot of money. I was looking at smaller tickers like BAC, CSCO, T, things that aren't going to cost a lot in options, 30 to 50 cents a piece. So I was looking at this over the weekend, and I charted out some resistant lines. And look, this is the big one right here. So this is why I love T. You have a buy line here that broke the downtrend right here, and then look at all this bouncing it did off of here. This is just fantastic. And then you have a support line here that it busted out, and then as soon as I see it broke this, I know it's going back up. So this could potentially be a fantastic play. I mean, we're talking 33 to 35. I mean, if it follows this and we get a giant break, I mean, you're looking at giant upside here, just massive. So that's something that I really like. I got 30 calls out for September 18th here. So we're probably looking at maybe the 31 to 32 area. And I got October calls for 31. So I got 30 calls for mid-September and 31 for October because I love this setup. This is an amazing setup. So let's look at a couple other ones here. CVS I talk about a lot. But unfortunately, I don't love the setup right now. There's nothing fantastic going on. It's in a pretty bearish downtrend. It's got some failed breakouts here, nothing fantastic. So what I'd really like to see is it's probably going to make a cup here and maybe come back up here after the next earnings reports. It's going to take a while. So this is actually daily, but even if we zoom in, it's not doing anything fantastic now. So I would just ignore that, put it on the back burner. CVX, petroleum oil play. I might have some old trend line here, so we can just change these colors so you can see them. So an old buy line here, old support line here. No point in making them again. So this isn't a great one. Only 2 points, so I'll probably just move this out. I wouldn't really count it as one. I always want to be as safe as possible, so I always use top of wicks before I buy my confirmations. But you can kind of see it's starting to trend up here. You got a head, and shoulders here. So this would definitely be something I would probably throw on my watch list. You also have a collapsing wedge here, also another good sign. So let's draw some more trend lines here. Let's zoom in on the 15-minute. Oops, let's delete that and restart it. So got a trend line here. Triple point trend line, not bad. And then you got a potential resistant line right here. So we can make that a pseudo byline. So you could actually play this tomorrow and have a target of 89. So small scalp you could do. And if it just breaks this red line, then just get out. And you could look for other resistant lines. This might actually potentially be one right here because you see it was a support. And so you got double support and it was a resistance, and then you had another support here. So this might be your target right here. So, and if it breaks above this, then we're game and go. I know the hurricane's coming and everything, shutting down. I think Chevron actually shut down all of their oil rigs in the Gulf, so oil prices could rise, and they could actually make more money. And that's usually when oil prices rise, oil stocks tend to rise. So this is just kind of a insight to how I pick my plays. I don't want to go through my whole list, but I just spend a little time and I go through charting out, and it takes a while when you first do it, but after you've done it, then you can kind of just take a quick glance through them and look at the ones you like. So, JPM is one that I pay attention to. Same thing that happened. This actually looks identical to American Express. I think all financials basically did that today, so where they had this peak, broke the downtrend, and they went crazy today. 3M, we got the downtrend, and then looks like 3M's had a nice setup. So, I mean, there's tons of awesome setups right now. That's why everyone's crazy on the market right now. Overstock, just look at that. That's nuts. It almost looks like Tesla did last year. So this is actually a short squeeze going on. If you guys don't know what overstock is, this is the definition of a short squeeze. So they were pretty much written off here and left for dead. They had like 80% short squeeze, and then COVID hit and their website started to get used again. We had a bunch of catalysts that drove people to start covering their short positions, and here we off to the races. So that's fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope to give you a little insight into how I pick my plays. There's no shortcut on it. You got to do your homework. I do my homework, and that's why I have consistent gains. And that's also a big reason why people can't day trade for a living, because it takes a lot of work to find your setup. So hopefully you guys like this, and if you have any questions, let me know.